When the weather is so frightful, the Eagles are so delightful, and Dallas really blows. Let us know, let us know. Okay, enough of that. What's up, YouTube Nation? Eagles Truth here with you. This is kind of like a video about the state of the NFC East, where we're at now, what we are looking at going forward, stuff like that. You know where we're at. I mean, we're one game we're one game ahead of the Cowboys atop the NFC East at 8-5. Cowboys 7-6. Cowboys will have the tiebreaker, but listen, tiebreakers are not going to come into this, other than the head-to-head. It's not going to get to. It's not going to get to a point at the end of Week 17 where we're looking at divisional record. It's not going to come out of that. So, I mean, you do the different scenarios and tell me if it gets to where you have to look at the divisional record. It's not going to get to that. So tiebreakers for the most part ain't going to matter. Now, beat the Minnesota Vikings? Guaranteed. Guaranteed that Week 17 is either going to be meaningless because we already have the division wrapped up, or Week 17 will matter to us, win or go home. That's what beating the Vikings will do. It'll guarantee us controlling our own destiny, regardless of what happens in the Bears game, regardless of what Dallas does. It guarantees it. So beat the Vikings, and we're golden till Week 17. Which makes you think of something. If Cowboys beat both the Packers, looking like it's going to be without Rodgers, unfortunately, beat the Packers and beat the train wreck that is the Redskins, and we beat the Vikings, that means the Bears game essentially is meaningless, other than fighting for the third seed, because we're not getting the second seed. We're not getting the bye week. So it's essentially like it's meaningless for the most part. I mean, I could care less whether we're the third or fourth seed. I really don't care. I don't care who we play between the Panthers and 49ers. I really don't care. Both them teams are kind of like the same to me. I mean, I don't know if we match up better with one over the other. I'm just being honest. They're kind of the same. They both got mobile quarterbacks, decent offense, really good defense. It's going to be a home game regardless, so that game becomes meaningless. And really, if I was to predict it, I would probably predict the Cowboys to beat the the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. I would predict us to beat the Vikings. Then I would predict the Cowboys to beat the Redskins. That's what I would predict, which means the Eagles, Sunday Night Football, Bears game means nothing. It absolutely means nothing other than the third or fourth seed. So with that said, do you rest the starters? Do you play them a quarter, a half? Because you want them fresh for the Cowboys. You don't want injuries or anything like that. So and people say, well, one game at a time. Let's just focus on beating the Vikings. Look, we're not the ones on the field, people. I never understand that, ever. I'll be in the Eagles message boards, and people will be starting threads about other stuff, and then you see the replies like, one game at a time, one game at a time. People seem to think that we're the ones on the field. We're fans. We can look ahead. Listen to how stupid you're sounding. Now, if you're talking about, the Vikings are going to be an easy win, I'm not even worried about them, then I would tell you, I hope the players ain't feeling that way, and I wouldn't give your hopes up just for the unlikely event that we do lose, because then you'll be like, oh, how we lose? You got to at least be prepared for that in your head. But, other than that, I really don't care. If you're not worried about the Vikings, you're not worried about the Vikings. I'm as confident as I've ever been, because the Vikings, look, you don't get to 3-9-1 by accident. All right? You don't get to 3-9-1 by accident. You're a bad team. And if Adrian Peterson doesn't play, you're an even worse team. It's just logic. Now, with that said, it's any given Sunday. I remember when the Dolphins were a terrible team, and the Patriots were very good that year, and the Dolphins somehow beat them. Now, that's a divisional opponent. Weird things happen in the division, but you know what I mean. So it is any given Sunday, and I know I probably will have a little bit of anxiety once that ball is kicked off. I always do. But this is a game we should win. What can I tell you? So it's looking like Aaron Rodgers will not play versus Dallas. He's not been ruled out yet as far as for me making this video, I don't think, but it's looking unlikely, guys, and that really sucks. I figured when we beat Detroit and Green Bay won against the Falcons, that being only a half game back for the division lead with 3 games to go, I figured that would be enough to have them push for Aaron Rodgers and not shut him down for the year. And it's looking like he's not going to play. Because if Aaron Rodgers would have played, rusty or not, I would have predicted the Packers to win. Because that Dallas defense is historically bad. It is terrible. And I figured the Aaron Rodgers would shred them to pieces. And Green Bay's defense is at least better than Chicago's. So I figured it would have been a win. We'd have beat the Vikings, which means we can clinch it on Sunday Night Football in front of our home fans. Clinch the division. I mean, that set up perfectly. Sunday Night Football in our home stadium and clinching the division in front of our home fans on a Sunday night. That'd have been great. That'd have been great. The link would be rocking. Now, it's not impossible to Cowboys, because I just said it's any given Sunday for us, so it means it's any given Sunday for them, and their defense is historically bad. So they could lose to the Packers or to a Redskins team that looks like it's going to be starting Kirk Cousins instead of RG3. And maybe he does well. Maybe Kirk Cousins, kind of likes the spark. Backup quarterbacks have been doing that this year. But it can happen. I'm still going to be rooting for the Packers. I'm still going to be rooting for the Redskins next week. But it's looking more unlikely without Rodgers playing. Let's put it that way. Don't know what else to tell you. I mean, the chances of Week 17, like you guys know the scenarios. To clinch it Week 16 and make Week 17 meaningless for us, we would have to beat the Vikings and the Bears, and the Cowboys lose one, either against the Packers or the Redskins. For us, that's the only way that we can clinch the division ahead of time. For the Cowboys to clinch the division ahead of time, they have to beat both the Packers and Redskins, and we have to lose both against the Vikings and Bears. Simply beating the Vikings this week denies that scenario. That's why this game is important in that aspect. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, if the Cowboys beat both the Packers and Redskins and we beat the Vikings, I'm not going to care too much if we lose to the Bears, just because it's going to be a meaningless game. I want us to look hot. I want us to go into Week 17 confident, so it'll suck in that aspect, but the game's not going to matter much. I don't care if we're 4th or 3rd seed. I really don't care. I think we're the better team, even if it comes down to Week 17. I know a lot of Eagles fans are saying, are actually rooting for Cowboys because they want it to come down to Week 17. And I'm like, look, it's any given Sunday. Yeah, we should beat them. I think we're the better team. But if you tell me that, if we have a chance to clinch the division ahead of time, I'd rather do that. Now, if Miss Cleo told me, or some fortune teller told me, or I had some crystal ball that said we were definitely going to beat the Cowboys, which we should, but again, it's any given Sunday. But if you tell me we definitely will beat the Cowboys, then yeah, I would love the scenario of freaking taking it from their home fans. Taking it from them, being the last team to knock their playoff hopes out. But week 16 in front of our home fans at Lincoln Financial Field, Sunday Night Football, clinching the division there, not even have to worry about Week 17. I just like it a little bit better. I can't tell you. So I don't think wild cards are going to happen, guys. So it's division or nothing. I don't see the 49ers losing another one. I see the Panthers maybe losing one more against the Saints, but that'll be about it. To lose a game and still make it as a wild card, we would need the Panthers or the 49ers to lose two. Lose two out of these next 3 games. I don't see it happening. So get the wild card possibilities out of your head. It's pretty much division or nothing. So yeah, I mean that's where we stand. I mean we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot. Let's be Eagles fans always, and Packers fans. And then next week will be Eagles fans and Redskins fans. All other games don't matter. You don't gotta. I mean, you can. I mean, if you want to, you can root against the Panthers and root against the 49ers if you want. But I mean, essentially, it's the Packers and Eagles that matter right now. And if the Packers win, awesome. If the Eagles win and the Packers win, awesome. Next week sets it up. It sets it up for the division. What can I tell you? That's where we're at. Big shout out to EDP. I know it's your birthday, and I actually had a game on my birthday. I think it was it might have been this year. I can't remember. It might have been this year or last year. I can't remember. That's how terrible it is. That's how terrible it is. I think it was last year. And I think the Eagles lost, which was terrible. You don't want the Eagles to lose on your birthday. That just kind of ruins your whole fucking day. You know, like for me, when the Eagles lose, it takes me a while. It takes me to about Thursday or Friday to even get over it, to where you can, like, when the Eagles lose, my girlfriend, like, she can't even talk to me because I'm not with it mentally. So that's why if the Eagles win and the Cowboys win both their games and the Bears game's meaningless, I won't be that upset if we lose. I'll be upset, but I won't, just because it stops our winning streak and, kills our momentum going into Dallas. But I won't be terribly like, because essentially it was meaningless anyway. So I think the Eagles are the better team the next 3 weeks. But it's any given Sunday, and I'm using that mantra to keep confident that the Packers can beat the Cowboys. Because, like I said, I want the division locked up in front of our home fan base at Lincoln Financial Field. Cowboys have to lose against the Packers or the Redskins. One of them two, at least. So, their defense is historically bad, and when it's that bad, anything's possible. You actually look at Dallas's last 5 weeks. They've been terrible. They nearly lose against the Vikings. They barely win that game. Then they get destroyed for an NFL record 40 first downs and 500 some yards against the Saints. Then they barely beat the Raiders. Barely beat the Giants. Then they barely beat the Raiders. Then they get smoked against the Bears. Last 5 weeks of Dallas, even in their wins, have not been overly impressive. So let's hope that Matt Flynn and the Packers can do something. That's all I can say. So go Birds, and I'll get a preview for the Minnesota Vikings up. All right, guys. Peace.